Welcome back, everyone, to Pod of Thrones. I'm Jeff.
I'm Jennifer.
We did it again. It's been a while.
Oops, we did it again.
We've been busy, dang it. I can't even tell you necessarily with what.
Well, I can.
Life's been busy.
Yeah. It's a long list. You don't want to hear it.
Oh, kids, health issues.
Parents.
So many things. Parents.
Vacations. Dogs.
We attempted to take a vacation. Dogs. Actually, sometimes he listens, but a shout out to our friend Jacob, who helped organize a very nice vacation for your 50th birthday.
Yes, he did. And it was
Should I bleep that out? Should I just say like, bleep, birthday?
I don't care.
Oh, okay, cool.
Magnificent.
When we got there.
Once we got there.
We missed about a third of our cruise because United Airlines, not super organized. It wasn't their fault that our first plane
Well, it might have been their fault.
It might have been their fault, but it wasn't necessarily their fault that the first plane might have been on fire. But after that, it just fell apart.
Yeah.
Just terrible. But once we finally got on that boat and we hung out, I mean, you and I haven't taken a vacation really ever. And we've been together almost a decade. So, So it was nice. I know that even taking a vacation ever, even one time, is something that not everybody can do. And I know that I appreciate that. But still, even getting away for those few days we did, it was pretty nice.
Everybody needs a vacation.
Yes. And that's really the problem, is that some people never get a vacation, and that's not okay.
No.
We need a better world, damn it.
Well, fix it then.
Okay. I'm going to lay out my 60-point manifesto on how to make the world better, and we'll see if I survive the month.
Do it.
Okay. Definitely get assassinated. So let's talk about nerdy shit, huh? Let's talk about nerdy shit.
I am wearing a Domo shirt.
You are wearing a Domo. Does anyone remember Domo? He was really hot in like the 2010s, I want to say.
And you're wearing a Flash shirt.
I am wearing a Flash shirt, yes.
We are very nerdish today.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing a podcast.
Well, we got some stuff to talk about. I know you get a little itchy when we pass the hour mark. So let's dive in and see how long it takes us to get through all this. First of all, because, this is sort of a Game of Thrones podcast, we got to talk about Game of Thrones like we always try. You ready?
I'm ready. Oh, yeah.
Did you have something?
Just one thing.
Okay. You want me to go first? Or you want to go first?
I'll go first.
Okay. What's yours?
Sophie Turner's pregnant again. She announced, I believe on March 1st, which was my birthday, that they're having baby number 2.
That girl likes to bone.
Baby number 1, Willa, is 19 months already.
Okay, fine. She took a little time off between kids. It doesn't feel like it, but
No,
time
it
is meaningless, as we know now. With
yeah,
COVID.
so congratulations to them.
Yay!
She's 25, and Nick Jonas is, I'm sorry, not Nick. Wait, is it Nick? Joe Jonas.
Dick.
Is
Larry.
34.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Well, when you're a rock star.
Whatever.
Doesn't matter, right?
Pop star.
Pop star. Yeah, he doesn't really rock, but he pops. He definitely pops. Well, congratulations, Sophie Turner. Okay, let's talk about George R.R. Martin.
Okay.
He's got too many R's. Big interview in the Hollywood Reporter. That's where I found it anyway. He talked about the prequels that are in development, because he has a hand in all of them, as he should.
Of course.
And then also, of course, the elusive Winds of Winter book. And
What'd he say?
We were talking about this earlier. Let me just remind everybody, in case we've all forgotten now, Winds of Winter is not the final book planned for the Game of Thrones series of novels. I think it's the second to last. And this book has taken like 20 years. So now with that all in mind, let's see what he has to say. There is a series about Nymeria, the legendary Dornish warrior queen. It is titled 10,000 Ships. They have a showrunner working on it, Amanda Siegel. And Martin says that she has delivered a couple of drafts for their pilot script. So he gets to, check their work, because he's the ultimate lore master, right? We have Kevin, but George R. R. Martin's like,
he's just one above.
Top of the list. Okay, there's also a series in development about Coreless Valerian. I don't know that we've heard about this one before. He's a famed explorer and trader in the Game of Thrones world. It was called... Wait, this says it has had a title change from 9 Voyages, and it is now called the Sea Snake. Sea Snake.
Sea Snake.
We do love our snakes. Sexy snake.
The Sea Snake is probably what's Jamie and Cersei's daughter's name?
Marcella?
Marcella as a zombie mermaid.
Like she's a ghost. Oh, well, like she haunts the open. That'd be awesome if she haunts the open seas. But I have a feeling this is probably like a historical.
Yeah.
I think it's all prequels. They have a guy named Bruno Heller who did the show Rome. He is the showrunner for this. And again, this isn't... Now, none of these are guaranteed to go to series, but you still have to put all the personnel in place just in case. The Dunk and Egg series is also still in development.
That one sounds like it's going to bomb.
No,
it's got a dumb name.
Like a buddy comedy.
We'll see.
Like, 2 silly guys on the road, and sometimes they have to murder someone. Based on Martin's novellas about a wandering knight and a young Aegon V. Targaryen, or is that Aegon the Fifth? I don't know. What a weird way to write that. Is being tackled by Steve Conrad, who did the show Patriot, which I've heard is very good. I think it's on Amazon. I'm not sure. And Martin said of this, he's determined to do a faithful adaptation of the stories, which is exactly what I want. These characters and stories are very precious to me. See, the other ones, it's just these are characters that were mentioned in a book once or twice. But Dunk and Egg actually have books. So they got to kind of be faithful on this one. He has more to say. The first season will be an adaptation of the first novella, The Hedge Knight. And he said the project's still uncertain. It'll probably be called The Hedge Knight or A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Martin wants to write more of these novellas to help the series, assuming it gets greenlit. Keep that in mind, right? He wants to write more of these novellas. He's also editing all the scripts, and let's keep reading. There's also an animated series that Martin confirms is set in the China-inspired land of Yi Ti. The author notes that it has a working title of The Golden Empire, but they have no other information to reveal yet, who's working on the script or show running or anything like that. Oh, okay. So the live action titles will be on HBO, and the animated series is set for only HBO Max.
Okay.
Okay. There's more.
How many projects are we up to now?
Oh, shit. That was 4.
Okay.
Plus there's House of the Dragon, which is actually coming. And Martin just said, what I have seen, I have loved. I'm eager to see more. Martin notes he is involved, quote, a lot with the prequels, quote, deeply, heavily involved in every one of the new shows. Okay.
Wow.
So then, as this article goes on to say, I know you got questions, which is one reason he admits that he made less progress on The Winds of Winter last year. Quote, I made a lot of progress on Winds in 2020 and less in 2021, but less is not none. The world of... right? Isn't this great? The world of A Song of Ice and Fire is my number one priority and will remain so until the story is told or my corpse is in the ground. He didn't say that.
George, how old are you? Are you not taking that into account?
I think he's late 70s. No, he didn't say his corpse is in the ground, but he said, let me say once again, yes, I am still working on The Winds of Winter.
Just get it done, man. Come on, focus.
Now I gotta look up how old he is. Let's find out. This should be easy. I'm sure lots of people Google this. He is 73. Okay.
Oh, he's
time. Like a spring chicken.
Except he, not exactly a spring chicken.
Stephen King is 74. It came up on the People Also Search For. They're only 1 year apart.
Neat.
For some reason, I feel like Stephen King's been around much longer, but I think that's just his fame has been around that much longer, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the big Game of Thrones update. What do you think?
Well, as I said, focus. You just got to focus. And sometimes it's okay to say no.
Yeah.
But if you're deeply, heavily involved, how are you still working on a book?
For 20 years.
Yeah.
It's the 20 years part that I think really drives people crazy. Yeah, George, I don't know. I mean,
and he does other stuff too. Like he's not.
He's written some comic books. There's been some projects based off of those comics.
Maybe he's not.
Follow it all.
Maybe he's like, you know how you do a draft of a story and then you let your underwriters go with it. Maybe that's what he's doing.
For Winds of Winter or all
for everything?
For everything, maybe. Well, plus he wrote The Elden Ring, a video game that just came out within the last few weeks.
Mm-hmm. How is he doing all of this? He's an alien.
Well, if he was that superhuman, he'd finish the fucking book that everyone's been waiting for, right? I don't know how he's doing it. It's still impressive that he's got this much to write, but it is weird the way he keeps saying. This is not the first time he said that Winds of Winter is his priority, but that's not the reality that actually comes out of his fingertips. So pretty amusing. I would love to hear anyone else's thoughts. And since I often forget to say this, let's just say it now. What do you think of what's going on with George R. R. Martin? Hit us up. You can find me on Twitter, you can find me on Twitter at Pod of Thrones or Jeff at podofthrones.com.
Jennifer at podofthrones.com or Kid Free Weekend on Twitter.
Do you actually look at Twitter anymore?
Sometimes.
I tweeted you a whole happy birthday thing, and I think it took you like 3.5 weeks to even like it.
I don't see your feed a lot of the time.
But I tagged you in it.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, well, that's what I was thinking.
Sometimes I miss things.
Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so the second show we ever covered on Pod of Thrones, in between Game of Thrones seasons, was what?
Westworld.
Yeah, baby.
We watched Westworld.
So an article came across a little bit ago of like the season 4 update, everything we need to know. And it's tremendously long, which I'm not going to read all of it because most of it's just like, well, we think this is going to be. But just a couple of notes. Filming for season 4 began in June 2021. So by all rights, we should be seeing season 4 this year.
Next year. Not 2022.
Yeah. No, definitely 2022. It might be, late 2022. I don't think we're going to see it in June, like a year after. I think it'll take a little bit longer than that to finish, but I think we'll see it before the year's up.
Do we still have our same characters?
Well, so that's the other thing. So there were some notes here. We definitely are getting Aaron Paul playing Caleb. Tandy Newton's returning as Maeve. Mm-hmm. Luke Hemsworth as Ashley, although he was really fucked up, right? He was like in a bathtub with a gun, as I recall. Mm-hmm. Ed Harris is the Man in Black, who's also mentally really fucked up. Mm-hmm. And Bernard, Jeffrey Wright, he's coming back too. Mm. And the last time we saw him, he was covered in dust after he had been in I don't remember what he was doing. Do you remember what he was doing? He like put on little VR goggle things or like a headset and he was looking for something.
No, I don't know.
And then next thing you know, the world had seemingly ended. Mm-hmm. But we don't know.
We don't know.
I don't remember. Yeah. Might have to watch that season finale again. And then, so the other part of that is that Dolores kind of died. And so there's no confirmation on what kind of role, if any, she has in this.
But there's a bunch of other Dolores out there.
Well, right. Okay. So yeah, she had split her personality. Well, like just 3 or 4 times, I think. And
that's a plenty.
Put them into other robots.
Because they can make more.
And they could make more. That's true. You can just copy the copy. Mm-hmm. But Jonathan Nolan, the guy, said that Dolores is gone, but then went on to say, well, this is his quote. I think it's important with a show in which death can be impermanent. These are robots, after all, to mark the occasion with Dolores. That version of that character is gone.
Aww.
So we may see Evan Rachel Wood. Maybe they'll put something else into her little brain area, since she got erased, but she will not be Dolores.
The OG is gone.
Right. What we know as Dolores will not be returning, says he. On the other hand, maybe he just plucks a core out of another robot.
That marble. The marble thing.
If there's still 1 or 2 of those out there. Dolores marbles.
I didn't know.
Still come back.
Yeah. Well.
Do you remember the name of the computer that erased her brain?
No. Bart?
It's that whole thing. I think it was.
I know. No. Reb something or other.
I think it was Rehoboam.
Rehoboam.
Or Rehoboam.
Rehoboam.
I think it was Rehoboam. Damn it.
Rehoboam.
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 Which for most of that series, my incuriosity had just taken it for what it was and figured it was an amalgamation of weird words, and it turned out it was a character from the Bible. Like an archangel or something.
Rehoboam.
Rehoboam. I'm just not that holy. That's the problem. So that's all I wanted to say about Westworld Season 4. But speaking of Jonathan Nolan, there was a headline a few weeks ago, because it's been a while, about the Fallout TV series. So if you have never played the Fallout video games, you probably still remember that we've talked about them a bunch of times on this podcast because of Westworld.
We also talked about what you're about to say.
Did we?
Mm-hmm.
No, we didn't.
Yes,
what am I about to say?
That the TV series is coming out.
Well, we said that like a
I thought that's what you were going to say.
No.
Okay.
There was just one interesting headline. But it was the whole thing with like Westworld's like behind the scenes where they make the hosts and the sort of the struggle for the host humanity really was very, very, very parallel to the video game Fallout 4, which you and I had both been playing extensively. Mm-hmm. So that's why it's always sort of been there in our heads, to the point of like, well, I wonder if Jonathan Nolan and Lisa Joy used to play a lot of Fallout, and then they are now helming the Fallout TV series on Amazon. So,
yep,
that's
pretty cool.
It is cool. I'm very excited for it, and we still don't really know much about it. But there was big casting news recently. So I'm going to show you a face. I'm sure he looks familiar to you, but you probably don't know his name, right?
I don't know his name, but I can tell you he's a murderer in a movie.
Well, he's got that face. He's been a bad guy a few times. His name is Walton Goggins. And I've heard people say Walter, which is not true. It's Walton. Walton Goggins. He's been in tons of shit. I can't even begin to, like, the first thing that comes to mind, because we watched it with the kids, was he was in the, I think, second to last season of Community, playing an attorney that was handling Chevy Chase's character's estate. But he's been in so many things, and he got really popular. I think it was Justified. He had a big role there as a lawman.
He's got a big forehead.
He does, and that's going to be a great canvas, because not only is he now a starring role in the Fallout TV series. Now, this article in Variety says says in a lead role. So he might not be the absolute main character. And there's a reason in a second. So what do you think the main character of Fallout should be? Like, based on your experience with video games. What would be a good feature of a main character in a Fallout game? Fallout show or game.
A good feature? Like for their face, you mean? No.
Like, what's something about them that they typically have in common?
Well, they either left a shelter.
Yeah.
Or they're a robot. Or a zombie or a...
So through most of the games, except for Fallout New Vegas, the main character in the Fallout video games has been a survivor from a shelter, a vault, where people hid when the bombs fell, and then you fast forward sometimes up to 200 years, depending on the game, and you're no longer the original survivor, but the descendant of one or something like that. The character in Fallout 4 had been frozen for 200 years instead, so he was the original survivor. That's usually where they come from, but Walton Goggins has been confirmed to be a ghoul.
I can see him as a ghoul.
Right,
sure.
Right. That's why I said his forehead would make a great canvas, right?
Yeah, and it looks like they'll be able to, because he has very little lips. It's like gums and teeth, so it'll look like he has no lips.
So in the Fallout universe, the ghouls could be mistaken for zombies sometimes. There's feral ghouls that have lost their minds, that really they just crawl out of spaces under cars and machinery or out of ceiling vents and stuff, and then they charge at you and try to bite your face off. But any of the ghouls are just people who had some kind of mutation effect with all the radiation in the air, and instead of dying or getting cancer, they
survived.
Yes, but they turn like into jerky.
Right, their skin is like jerky.
Right. But they're also more or less immortal. They don't really need to eat. They don't age. They can be killed by, guns and shit.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, they kind of live forever. So who knows what he could be? Lots of possibilities there, but probably not a vault dweller. So hopefully he'll be cast alongside someone who comes out of the vault. And then Walton's role could be like, you have that buddy that like knows everything. Like we have our character that's new to the world and then we need exposition and Walton could be the exposition guy.
Mm-hmm.
That would be pretty fun.
Maybe he'll just be a voice.
Well, no, they said he's going to be a ghoul.
Oh, sorry. I was thinking he could be the round dudes.
Robo-brain?
No, but
No.
Sure.
Okay.
Mr. Handy.
Oh, a Mr. Handy robot.
Mm-hmm.
Like a little flying sphere with tons of arms and blades and things coming off of it. Nope.
I can't wait. Does it say anything about when it's coming out? Please?
Nope.
Oh.
Nope. I have no news on that.
Okie dokie.
Now, I saved the best headline for last because you might need a break after this one.
Ooh, is it involving like a man?
Which man? I mean, there's a lot of men in these TV
Chris
shows.
Chris Hemsworth?
Nope. Try again.
Nathan Fillion?
No, ma'am.
I don't know who. You?
Yes, I've been cast. It's because I got my black belt in Taekwondo. Now I can be an action movie star.
Yep.
That's how it works. No, I thought he was your favorite, but now he's not even at the tip of your
Who?
tongue. Henry Cavill.
Oh.
New casting news.
What?
The Witcher star joins the Highlander movie remake, cast as Connor MacLeod.
We're going to watch that.
I know. We'll bring a towel to the movie theater. We'll just sit you down so that you got some absorption under you.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
So it's not even remaking Highlander. Fine. I mean, I'm not always a fan of remakes, but the Highlander movies
they're
probably
aged.
Use a little updating
For sure.
Yeah.
80s was not a good era for movies as far as like that kind of movie goes.
I mean, the Highlander movie has a lot of great stuff going for it, but the action was not necessarily one of them because the guy who played Connor MacLeod, what's his name?
Ian McClellan.
No. No, that would be funny, but no. Son of a bitch. I got to look it up. The guy who played Connor MacLeod basically is blind.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. His
practically
eyes.
blind.
He's got little tiny eyes.
Fucking name. Christopher Lambert. Like literally can't see. In the first movie, he was okay. By the sequels, the stunts were severely
dangerous.
Yeah. And they just had to take it easy. They couldn't do a whole lot with him.
But
he was a fun actor, looked the part, whatever. Now, the Highlander TV series had what was his name? Adrian Paul playing Duncan MacLeod, Connor's cousin or whatever the fuck. And he was in better shape and everything.
Mm-hmm.
So that show had some good action in it, but the movies, but what a great concept. So not only are they being remade now starring the man, but they're being directed by Chad Stileski. Does that name mean anything to you?
No.
I can barely say it. He's the guy that did the John Wick movies.
Oh, well, that'll be interesting.
We're going to get some action.
Yeah.
And Henry has done great work on The Witcher. I'm sure he doesn't do all of his own stunts, but he has to do a lot of the sword fighting because he's there on camera, right? They don't shoot him from behind all the time like they would with Christopher Lambert. Mm-hmm. So we're going to take the dude that did John Wick and Nobody and pair him with Henry Cavill from The Witcher. I'm pretty fucking excited.
Yes. It's going to be epic.
That's going to be a must-see.
Okay, when is that coming out? Don't know.
Well, given that it was like a casting announcement, I think we got a couple years to wait, unfortunately. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. But
it'll be worth it.
If I find anything out, I will certainly let you all know. Yep.
Okay, now what are we talking about?
Big headline. Oh boy. Peacemaker? Want to spend a few minutes on Peacemaker?
Uh-huh.
Okay.
Do you really wanna?
Can I throw a clip of the song in there without getting in trouble?
Oh, I don't know.
Maybe the acoustic version, because that's not as like, oh, I was obsessed with that acoustic version for a couple weeks there. I couldn't get it out of my head. Now it finally is, and now I'm going to listen to it again. Peacemaker. You did not take to the show immediately.
I thought it was going to be stupid.
Okay, but let's start with the Suicide Squad movie. I can't remember if we talked about that on the show or not, but what did you think of the movie that led into Peacemaker?
It was entertaining, but I wasn't a huge fan, not for any one particular reason. I just,
I mean, I thought Harley Quinn was awesome. I thought Starro the Conqueror was a pretty entertaining villain at the end. You remember him?
Of course.
Giant starfish? Okay.
Yes.
Well, you're looking at me. I don't know.
Well, I thought you were talking about the first one.
No. See, that movie wasn't very good. Okay. It had a couple of moments.
So,
and, Harley Quinn, again, was entertaining.
I liked the second one much more.
Oh, yeah. I think that's universally agreed upon.
And it's supposed to be goofy, so it was good.
Right. James Gunn seemingly can't miss. I can't think of anything he's done in the last decade that's
Don't jinx him.
Okay, I'm sorry. But the man just does fine work, right? Suicide Squad wasn't very good. He comes in and makes the Suicide Squad. All he has to do is put a "the" in front of it, and suddenly it's a genius film. It was just really well put together, but the cast of characters...
It was funny.
I think there were just a couple crossovers. Harley Quinn and then the Rick Flag, the guy who was kind of in charge of them. And then the behind-the-scenes people, the people in the chair, as we would say, from Spider-Man. They came over, but otherwise it was a whole new cast. They were very entertaining, and John Cena as Peacemaker was pretty funny. Like, there was that whole thing where they're going through the, sneaking into a encampment of people that turned out to be friends, and just, this competition between him and Bloodshot? Damn it.
Bloodshot sounds right.
Bloodshot or Bloodsport.
It's definitely not Bloodsport.
Competing on, who can kill more and how stealthily and also violently. It was just awesome. It was just a great movie. And he was left for dead at the end of it, but then he wasn't dead. Someone pulled him out of a tower that fell on him, and he managed to get back to America somehow. Implausible, but it's a comic book, so it's okay.
Right. I mean, there was a big starfish.
So we get John Cena with his own series now, and you watched the first episode and thought, because it was too silly?
It was a little too silly, and it wasn't quite as funny as it needed to be.
Oh.
On the first episode. If you're going to be that silly, you need to be pretty funny, and I just felt like it was not quite there yet.
All right. I heard some big criticisms of the first episode or two, largely centered around Robert Patrick's character. I can't remember where I was hearing this, but...
Who's Robert Patrick?
He was Augie Smith, Christopher's dad, Peacemaker's dad.
Okay.
The White Dragon. It was sort of and it wasn't even from someone like Fox News or whatever. It was just more like another Nazi plot. Do we really need to have more Nazis? Hasn't this been done to death? Which, maybe, but also it's still a problem.
Well, I thought that was written in the comics. Was it not part of the comic story?
Oh, man. I was going to try to explore what
the real story is.
Peacemaker was all about in the DC universe, but I did not get it.
I assumed that that's how it was in the comics, but maybe not.
It's possible. Now, he was supposed to be a villain, but then he considered himself to be a hero. He introduces himself at the very beginning of the first episode as, I'm a superhero, I'm Peacemaker. And then the guy's like, I've never even heard of you. And then he gets labeled as the racist superhero that kills minorities.
He doesn't know he's bad.
But he doesn't know he's bad, and that's what's fascinating about him, right? Yeah. It's it's almost like an allegory for all of us. Like, there's a lot of racism in the world, not even just our country, but our country has plenty, and this is where we live. And a lot of times we don't recognize it, or if we have a role in it or not, or just the behind the scenes racism that kind of runs a lot of the systems that make our country go. And he's like a personification of that, right? Like, he thought he was just going out and killing people that break laws. But then it turns out maybe he wasn't thinking too hard about what areas he was patrolling. And it's very easy to do. You're like, well, I'm going to go to a high crime area. Well, why is it a high crime area? Is it the poverty? Is it the fact that it's already over policed and there's just stats that don't exist in the white neighborhoods or whatever? And he's
no.
They never got into that in the show. I'm just saying. But that's easily how it could work, because that's how it works in real life.
You're just getting all political. Knock it off.
I can't help it.
This is a good show, and let's just keep going.
I can't help it. Okay, but anyway.
Too deep.
The point being, you didn't think the first episode was that funny, I guess.
Yes.
You did love Eagly. You fell in love with him right away.
That is what pulled me in for the next one. Eagly.
Eagly brought you back for round 2?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, that's good. My revelation personally was Freddie Stroma, sort of a Game of Thrones veteran. He was only in like 1 or 2 episodes, but whatever. As Vigilante. The so-called best friend of John Cena, but he was just hilarious.
He was hilarious.
Just funny at every turn. Also had some good action scenes, still a stone cold killer, but very, very funny. And ultimately the story tells about butterflies.
Right.
Alien butterflies. It's kind of a Body Snatchers retelling, except instead of pod people, these little butterflies go inside you, and then they just need to keep drinking this weird honey-like solution to live. But otherwise, what's their deal? What are they trying to accomplish? Really kind of hard to say. What'd you think of the overall?
Well, I thought the whole story was silliness, but what isn't? It was good
and touching,
funny, political. Just like jabbing fun at certain things that are happening in our world right now, and I really liked it. It got better and better and better for sure.
And somehow, John Cena's a pretty good actor.
Yes,
like you could feel emotions.
What was he in before? What has he been in, like, his most well-known?
Well, he was a pro wrestler. That was
what was his wrestling name? John Cena?
I might have just, it might have been, actually. I don't know. I think it was just John Cena, because I do not remember.
I hope he didn't get brain damage.
Here, he's listed in video games as John Cena. I think his breakout role was in a movie that you and I started but did not finish, Trainwreck. Does that even ring a bell? It was Amy Schumer, and I think Bill Hader was the romantic interest for Amy Schumer, but John Cena was her current boyfriend, at the time, and there were like scenes where he's just like fucking her for hours and nothing's happening. You don't remember any of that, huh?
I think I might, yeah.
But otherwise,
I would have turned it off right about then.
Scrolling through his stuff, it doesn't look like he did a lot of acting before that. It was a lot of WrestleManias. We had a movie in 2006 called The Marine.
Well, good on him. Look at him stepping up for this big role.
Right. Well, yeah. I mean,
he just came right out of the blue.
He started acting. He was in Fast and Furious 9 in a smaller role, like not a lot. But it just turns out man's got talent.
Yeah.
In that scene where he plays the piano, that was really him.
That was awesome.
He was really good.
He played a whole song.
And he played
yeah.
He emotes well.
He does.
It's kind of not fair.
He's got a face.
Like he's this humongous beast of a man. Mm-hmm. He's got enough going on. Then he has to have all this talent too.
Yeah.
I get jealous. I'm sorry.
Okay. It's okay.
But there will be, I believe, there's going to be a Peacemaker season 2.
I hope so. There should be.
They're going to have to redo the opening credits because some of the people in the first round are dead.
But they're so good.
But they're just going to have to come up with something equally magical.
It's not going to be equal. It's not.
The music of Peacemaker, and I think it's, if you look at Guardians of the Galaxy, for instance, like James Gunn likes his music for sure. Mm-hmm. He's big on soundtracks. The soundtrack to Peacemaker, I'm kicking my microphone. I'm sorry if that comes through. The soundtrack to Peacemaker is fascinating in that I was listening to a lot of it going like, well, okay, here's one song that sounds familiar. And then here's like 6 songs. I'm like, boy, I guess I really didn't pay that much attention to like glam metal in the 80s. Mm-hmm. And then it turns out none of those were in the 80s.
Right.
there's a huge movement in the Scandinavian countries of our world. And most of the glam music that we heard that we didn't recognize from the 80s is within the last 10 to 15 years, just not from America. The opening theme song, Do You Really Want to Taste It, from Wigwam.
Mm-hmm.
That's a newer song. I think it's from like, well, I don't remember.
I watched their video or something.
But it's in like the 2010s.
And the guys look a little older.
Yeah. I mean, they're getting up there, but.
It's good.
Yeah. And then there was a nice headline there where like I think it was the manager, like Wigwam's manager, quit the band, like gave up on them, like right before Peacemaker came out.
Oh, dummies.
Because they're going to be touring now. Everyone wants a piece of Wigwam.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
What a funny name.
It is a funny name, but...
Is it Wigwam or Wigwam?
I don't know, because if it's Wigwam, that just sounds like a Native American thing, which, I mean, they're not.
It's okay to say it.
Well, no,
a Wigwam is a teepee thing.
I know, but why would they come up with that if
maybe that's where they were playing their music together first.
In a wigwam?
Yes.
A Scandinavian wigwam?
That's why I would name my band that.
I'm assuming it's wigwam. I'm just going to keep saying that until I hear otherwise, but I don't know.
I'm sure you've looked it up.
I don't think I did. I should have.
That's weird.
But the soundtrack is great. There's even, and I know we've already had ups and downs with fucking Spotify on this show in just the last couple episodes, but there is a Spotify playlist of Peacemaker soundtrack. So if you haven't boycotted Spotify yet, it's out there and waiting for you. And it's all pretty good.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, just quality choices, James Gunn. Anything else you want to say about Peacemaker?
Watch it.
I mean, if you haven't watched it yet, watch it for sure. I don't know that I mean, is there much to say about the plot? You know, Peacemaker wins.
No, because I don't want to spoil
There's a cool little cameo thing at the very end of the season involving the Justice League.
Oh.
Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. There's a cool cameo at the end. He kills a lot of people. Like a lot of people. The supporting cast is great.
Mm-hmm.
The people in the chair, they're all awesome. I don't know. I'm just excited for season 2. But you did say you wanted to talk about something else today, babe.
What was it?
What was the show we just watched that you
Oh my God.
About?
We've been talking for an hour.
40 minutes.
Jesus. Okay, quick.
Let's do 15-ish on your show. Let's do it.
Raised by Wolves on HBO.
Where do you start with this show?
It's crazy.
I can't remember if we talked about season 1 on this podcast or not. I think I might even owe...
It doesn't matter. Raised by Wolves.
I want to say it might have been Iego that told us to watch it.
Probably.
But season 1 was so long ago, I don't totally remember.
Okay. Raised by Wolves.
Where do you start?
Well, it's a show about...
I'm just going to take a drink here.
Robot caretakers that are trying to preserve humankind.
Okay. Well, that's a good quick bit.
Mm-hmm.
Where?
In the middle of the universe?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Right. Planets.
Some planet.
Planets that aren't native to humankind.
Yeah, we're very much not on Earth for this show.
Right. Although, yeah, you don't know where we're at. It might be Earth. I don't know.
No. Well, they traveled.
Okay, well, hang on. Let's just back it up.
Okay, back it up. Boop.
Okay, so... Boop. No, we don't have to actually back up. Oh. The robots are sent with a child? Where does Campion come from? They've got one kid,
They
right?
had a bunch of embryos.
They had children that they were raising, yeah.
Like frozen embryos.
And did they crash or something? Or they just...
No, they landed on that planet on purpose.
Okay, to repopulate and grow basically new humans.
Mm-hmm.
But all of them died.
Now that we're talking about this, I have a lot of questions about some of the stuff we learned in season 2. The fact that they landed on that planet on purpose is actually pretty fishy.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, most of the children died from
radiation poisoning,
like whatever they were
or whatever.
Eating, something.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And only one of them survived, Campion.
Now, let's not forget at first, like the mother
had
the girl robot had like teats. Like
well, not
teats.
yet.
She was like breastfeeding the kids when they first
was
came
she?
out of their embryonic state. Yeah.
No.
She had little milk secretors like up and down her
That
chest.
was later.
No.
She had him bit. I don't remember that.
That was like episode 1. But then, because the kids had to get old enough to eat stuff, and then they got poisoned by whatever they were.
She should have just kept on breastfeeding them.
I guess so.
Anyway, so they're trying to raise these kids. They all die, and Campion's the only one left, and a ship crashes, right?
Well, there's a whole thing. There's a larger ship out in space, I think looking for them, maybe. Because there was like a civil war, and it was atheists versus, what were they called? I don't know, the religious people. They worship Sol, but they're not called like Solians. They're called something else.
Zealots, I don't know.
And I think maybe they were hunting. Man, season 1 was so long ago. I think they were hunting for the embryos or something like that. And then like a landing ship came down, and there was a fight, and some bad shit happened. But then Mother, turns out she can kick some ass if she needs to.
But she didn't know that.
She didn't know that, but she it's like something
she found out, right?
Mm-hmm. So it turns out she's a necromancer, not a D&D class where it's a wizard that can resurrect dead things, but like a robot that can just kill everything in sight.
Right. With a scream.
But she was like, I think the necromancers worked for the religious people, and that's why the religious people were winning the war, because they had these super powerful robots. But she got captured by the atheists and was reprogrammed to become an atheist robot that wants to raise children.
Yeah, very, very, very confusing. We can't really actually do this show justice because it goes.
I love this show.
It morphs and morphs and morphs into something else that you didn't know was coming. But season 2 is great, like so much crazier. We can't really.
Right. Well, at the end, how does season 1 end?
I don't know. Okay, so the season 1 ends with Mother. Right, she's supposed to be pregnant, even though
she's a robot.
She's a robot, right?
She got impregnated by a VR program.
Yeah, and then when she has the baby, it turns out to be an eel or a snake. It's a flying,
a flying
snake-ish
serpent.
eel. Mm-hmm. And they decide that they need to kill it.
But she can't.
She can't.
Because it's her baby.
Right, because she's a caretaker.
Right.
That's her programming. She can't kill a baby.
And ultimately it gets away.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. And then they have to find a new place to live, which, like, that was their sort of trek in season 2. They get to, like, the tropical zone on the planet. But meanwhile, while all that's happening, the religious people are having these weird visions, and there's, like, they find these relics, and there's, like, a weird shrine of some sort that kills one of them with holy fire, but it's never really clear what's happening on the planet, and it still kind of isn't after season 2. But, like, are they all just collectively mad, or is there actually something on the planet? And there definitely is something on the planet that may be a god, or it may be just a computer with a broadcast tower.
We don't know.
We don't know. And then there's this whole thing with Mother.
It's like rapid growth of some entity.
If you haven't seen season 1, then I'm just going to tease you by saying at one point, Mother, the necromancer robot, loses her eyes, which are the source of her power. And then this dude, who's an atheist,
yes.
pretending to be a religious dude.
Well, he thought he was. He was pretending.
He was pretending at first.
Oh, right. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. This religious dude that was, or this atheist that was pretending to be a religious dude and was hanging out with the religious dudes, winds up eating the eyeballs.
Somebody shoved them down his throat.
Well, I know, but still, he swallowed them. And the eyeballs start giving him visions.
Making him crazy.
And he becomes a prophet of the god that may or may not actually exist.
Right.
And also really weirdly veiny.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the eyeballs. And then season 2 happens. That was all season 1 shit. Season 2, they get to the tropical zone where there's a whole atheist colony. So I guess that's why it makes sense that they were looking for this planet, but then they didn't land right or something. So there was an atheist colony. And then it turns out there have been atheist colonies or human colonies on this planet before, and things have gone wrong. And this show is done by Ridley Scott, the alien guy. The guy that did Alien, the guy who was the mind behind Prometheus, all these, like, the dude loves sci-fi and he loves mutating humans and having weird shit pop out of people.
That happens in this.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's not immune. I am hoping somewhere along the line that somehow there's like a tie-in here, but I don't know.
I think there will be.
I don't know.
There already is a little bit. I don't know how much we want to say here, though.
What are you saying?
Well, the
acid, the acid stuff,
the acid sea with the creatures in the sea. They're
right.
like
They're
de-evolved humans.
Acid. Yeah, they're yep. Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. It has an alien vibe at certain points.
Right.
In fact, there was a devolved acid human thing that had like teats and stuff. It sort of looked like the heavily disavowed Alien Resurrection alien.
With
it
boobs.
was this weird, it was like a mutant alien human baby that Sigourney Weaver like gave birth to, or I don't know. It was a terrible movie, but it kind of looked like that thing.
Huh.
Just saying.
Oh, I'm going to have to take a look.
Just look it up. Just Google
I will.
We don't want to watch the movie. It's
no, I'm going to Google it.
Yeah, but then there's also things that just feel like they're out of a very strange like video game. Like almost like the first thing that came to mind is Myst. Do you remember that game? It was kind of big in the 90s. You might not have had a good computer.
No,
but it was like an adventure game where it was this weird surreal space with just strange landscapes, and everything was like made out of shit the guy found on his desk, but then he took like high quality photos of it. And I know, it was just very surreal, and just things could turn into other things at the click of a button. And like the snake was transforming and like evolving for no logical reason into strange other creatures that were more dangerous than the creature before.
It became weaponized. That's
but
what they kept saying.
Just the way that it was evolving.
It was very weird.
It was so random.
Like a dolly.
Right. It's totally surreal. Like a dolly painting or weirder. Like, it's a really fucking strange show. But we couldn't stop watching it. Right? I mean...
Yeah, because you had to figure out what's going on now.
And then season 2 leaves us with a dude floating upside down. Not going to say who, but is he a devil? Is he a god? Is he holy or unholy? And then...
Or is he just like highly radiated and floating because he's got like helium in his body now or something?
Well, he was supposed to be dead, and now he was like... Someone got crucified, and then... But like upside down crucifixion, which is kind of like a devil thing. Like, isn't the upside down crucifix supposed to be a Satan thing?
It's because he got poked into the tree, and the tree got some of his flying abilities into
you got your flying abilities into my blood. Well, you got your blood into my flying abilities. One of our robot heroes is in a terrible state, theoretically gonna die, but it's a cliffhanger, so who knows?
Mm-hmm. But you hate her anyway.
And then there's all these kids half of them were like...
They're learning about real life.
Well, because like in season 1, a bunch of these, like, they were religious, Mithraic. That's what it was.
Yeah.
So the Mithraic versus the atheists. The Mithraic worship soul, and the atheists worship nothing, apparently. But all these Mithraic kids get, like, quote unquote rescued by Mother, the necromancer robot, because she destroys the whole, like, the mother ship that these Mithraic people came on. So the only people that are left are a few kids that she rescued, because kids are precious, and the people that were already on the planet when their mothership blew up. So they're all stranded. But yeah, we got a bunch of kids with this identity crisis of faith versus not faith. And Mother takes care of them, but they don't trust her because she's also like a murder bot. Mm-hmm. And then there's the one guy that lived, Campion, Mother's favorite, the one surviving child of hers.
She wants him to take over the reins, basically.
Well, he's like a prophet to her, except she's an atheist, so she shouldn't believe in prophets.
Right. Why is he meant to take the helm?
And yeah, there's a lot of stuff around him. Is he a prophet? Is he just a kid? I don't know. It's such a weird show.
It is, but it's good.
But it should be watched. It should be watched. If you're listening to this and you're like, well, I watched the first episode or two, Eric, and
it was weird.
And it was too weird for your sci-fi tastes. I don't care. Just Just watch it anyway. It's.
I mean, you can't make people.
Yeah, just watch it.
All right. It's been on hour now for sure.
We're close. We're close enough, babe. We got other things to do. I get it. But we haven't done a podcast. What the fuck is that? Oh, is that the thing from...
That's the Alien, baby.
From Alien 4? Alien Resurrection?
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably wrong, but I just felt like I saw some similarities with that weird teat-suckling, nursing...
I can see that.
Nursing fish monster. Nursing fish monster. This show has a nursing fish monster in it, and you haven't watched it yet.
It's pretty awesome. Okay, the one thing that really pisses me off about the show, they've got an acid sea, and the creatures are coming out of the sea, and the kids are all standing around the sea, and it's spraying everywhere. Why is the acid not burning them?
Well, I hate to say this, but there's actually an answer to that by the end of the season.
What was it?
But it didn't explain some of the earlier stuff. There's something going on with the kids.
Oh, that's right.
But prior to that, like if there was high tide and the shore is covered with acid water and then it's low tide, you shouldn't be able to just walk around on the damp rocks.
Right. It's all wet and they're touching.
It should still be acidic. Yeah.
They're touching the rocks and.
I'll grant you that for sure. That's
kind of weird.
But of the inconsistencies you could have in a show, that's probably.
Or maybe acid, like.
Maybe the rocks are alkaline.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. That's the only reason the planet still exists.
Who knows?
Yeah, that's possible. That's possible. I do want to know where the people get their drinking water.
Right.
That's never been explained.
Urine.
But it is a fascinating show about AI and humanity. I guess we get a lot of that these days, right? I mean, that's Westworld too. That's Fallout. That's There's a lot of that going around. But this is in a very different way.
I wish we had actual AI now. I mean, like robots that we could use.
Yeah, we'll have that before we die.
I need it now.
We'll have a robot before we die. We'll have a robot that you can have a conversation with and can do the dusting around the house.
Oh, you mean like Roomba?
Well, yeah, but like with a face. An unnerving face.
Slap a face on it.
Unnerving face.
Okay.
It gives you nightmares. Yep.
That'd be funny, a face just rolling around on the floor.
What else are we watching about that we should talk about next?
Nothing.
Yes, we are.
Absolutely nothing.
We should do an episode about Upload. What? You don't want to watch Upload Season 2 now?
I'll watch it.
I wanted to rewatch Upload Season 1 just because it's been 2 years. I think it's a great show. No? Well, if not, you bring something to the table, lady.
Why do I have to?
Well, because you went.
Don't tell me what to do.
Wow. All right. Well, we'll go fight about this off mic. No one wants to hear us fight. It makes them sad.
All right.
All right. So until next time.
I'm Jennifer.
I'm Jeff. And you know what? I really, 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 really want to taste it.
All right. Let's take care of that.